Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Mama Birds. I am Robin, and today we are finally getting to the project that I've been wanting to get to for almost a solid week now. Our family has been very sick, so we've kind of got it together now, and which is fantastic because our peaches that we picked up at Desert Hills are absolutely ripe and probably a little bit too ripe to can, honestly. So my plan today is to can some of them. There's definitely a lot of the peaches. We got about 23 pounds, I think it was. I would say significantly more than half of that is still in great shape. So we are going to can that. And then the rest of it, we're actually going to freeze. I'm going to do 1 canner load of peaches. We're going to do slices. We're gonna do 1 canner load of like a peach fruit cup, and then the rest of it we're gonna freeze. So whatever we can get done today is what we're gonna do. I am feeling so much better, so I'm so glad to have some extra energy. I'm just gonna get my kitchen ready to go, and we're gonna get started right away on peeling peaches. So if you've canned peaches before, then you will know that we need to skin them. And this is the first step in really getting it all together. So I'm just gonna put some smoking hot water in this pot, get it on to boil. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop the peaches in a couple at a time for like maybe 30 to 40 seconds. And then we're going to remove them from the hot water and put them into a cold sink. So I'm going to put my stopper in the sink, and I'm going to put some cold water in here so that it kind of acts as like a ice bath, and it will stop like the cooking process, because I definitely don't want mushy peaches, and we want this sort of step to happen very quickly. So I'm going to get this water on to boil. I'm actually going to set up a fan in my kitchen so that I can get some airflow moving in here. Because it is so hot. It is so hot. And man, if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, I don't know how you do it. And I went to university in Texas, so I am absolutely familiar with the heat. But when you live in the north, when you live in northern Canada, I guess technically, it's a different kind of heat when you're not used to it, and let me tell you, it's hot. It's about 32, I think, today. We're at the end of August here, so this is like the last kick at the heat for us, and then we will start to see cooler evenings. And I mean, we get down into like single digits, almost like 9 or 10 degrees at night, overnight. And then it just shoots right back up to like 20 plus, and I'm just cooking. So here we go, peaches it is. I'm gonna end up turning on my fan, and we are gonna get some air moving in here. I figured I would just apologize now for the next bit of this video. I do have my kitchen fan on, but I do end up turning it off, so bear with me. Here are the absolutely stunning peaches. They're so beautiful, I love them so much. Some of them have seen better days. Like you can tell there's a little bit of brown here. Something probably just got set on that. But there are so many that are just absolutely beautiful and ripe, and like, look at that. That's like perfection right there. You see it? Oh, so good. So we are going to, like I said, dip these into the hot water. For about 40 seconds, I think is going to be enough, just like this, exactly like this, from the box into the pot. And we'll probably do like 6 at a time, because I think I can peel 6 while 6 more are boiling, so I can kind of create a system of like rotation. And yeah, I'm just going to keep going with that, and then get them all peeled, and then we're gonna slice them up how we want to preserve them in the jars. And like I said, I'm gonna do some slices because I would like to do peach pie for Thanksgiving. I found out that it's my sister's favorite, so we're gonna do something inspired by peach pie. So we'll need slices for that, and then I'm going to do like a fruit cup style, so like diced up peaches instead of half or quartered peaches. I'm not a huge fan of doing halves because I find that it's really tricky to get all of the air bubbles out. I find that a lot of the jar ends up being syrup, which is wonderful and super delicious. You can use it in juice or like as a topping for pancakes or something like that, but that's just not what I'm going for. I want to do concentrated peaches in a light syrup so that I can use it in applications. So yeah, let's get started. What I ended up doing was pulling some of the peaches that I could noticeably see had imperfections on them and just kind of setting them to the side. And what I decided to do is we were just going to eat those ones fresh. So just cut off the pieces that didn't look so pretty and we were just eating those fresh. There only ended up being a couple. The rest of them we ended up skinning, coring, and then slicing them to the desired size. Here I am dropping some peaches. Also, they did not need very much time in the water. I'm gonna explain that to you later on in the video, but I ended up doing a couple that were definitely too long in the hot water, but some that needed to go back in. Like this one, the skin wasn't quite coming off. So I just dropped it in for a couple more seconds and then pulled it out and the skins come right off. So this step is definitely crucial when it comes to canning peaches, and I definitely wouldn't skip it. It's not recommended to can peaches with the skins on. However, you can absolutely freeze your peaches with skin on if you want. One thing that I would recommend if you are planning to freeze your peaches is to try and do it in a single layer on a cookie sheet. I usually put down some parchment paper and try and do a single layer of peaches. I show you that in this video as well. But at the end of this evening, I had no energy left to find space in my freezer for several cookie sheets. So I ended up chucking them into Ziploc bags and just freezing them that way. But I would absolutely encourage you to try and freeze your fruit in a single layer and then put it into a Ziploc bag. It just makes it so much easier for you to use the frozen fruit at a later date rather than it being completely frozen into a single clump of fruit. Okay, friends, we're about halfway. Sorry, I'm not in the shot anymore. But I just wanted to show you really quickly what it is that I'm doing. So we put the peaches into the hot water. I found that now that I've done probably a little bit more than half, I found that about 20 seconds is the best, especially at this stage of ripeness. So these peaches are very ripe. And then I pulled them out. I put them in the cold water here. And what I'm doing is I'm just cutting all the way around like an X. And then I'm doing one of two things. I'm holding each side like this and twisting. And if the skins come off, then I just peel the whole peach and then I separate the peaches. But in a perfect world, they would come off. See, this peach is perfect. They twist off the actual chunks like this. And I find this way the peaches come out absolutely beautiful. There's no imperfections at all. There's no dents or finger marks or anything like that. And this is the best way for me. And then once I get each of the sections off, then I go ahead and peel them and the skins just come right off. Just like that. And it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful peaches. And then with the skins, what I'm doing is I'm just putting them into this jar, pits and everything. Whatever hits the jar is what I'll keep. And we're gonna make something with that as well. So no waste around here. I definitely have been inspired by a few different channels on YouTube, so I'm sure you know who they are. Three Rivers Homestead is one of my favorite channels to watch if you're into homesteading and canning, food preservation, mom life. She's a huge inspiration for me, and yeah, so you can definitely check her out. Another one is Homesteading with the Zimmermans. I love Ruth Ann. She's just my spirit animal. I love her so much. I like how she's no fuss and she does her, and she's just so inspirational how much she does. There's a few others as well, and I'm sure I'll share them along the way over the next, however long. We are definitely not going to waste these skins. And I think now that I'm just thinking about it, I think I'm going to try like a strawberry and peach jam or jelly. I think I'm going to do a peach skin and strawberry discard maybe. Maybe that'll be fun because I saved the tops of my strawberries when we went through a bunch in this past summer. And I really like to make strawberry jelly, which I have enough of it, that is for sure, for the next little while. But maybe we can do a peach and strawberry version and I can show you how I do it. That would be fun. Stay tuned for that. Another one of the YouTube channels that I really enjoy watching, honestly, I don't even know how I found her, but probably because she's also Canadian. Her name is Chelsea. She's absolutely divine. Love her. I look at her and I think of her as my big sister, and it's just so cool because I don't have a big sister, and gosh, she just does so many things, and oh, I just love her videos. She's just a great human in general. And so if you ever get a chance to check out Little Mountain Ranch, Chelsea is amazing. Her husband Dan is also super fantastic. He reminds me of Mike. I relate to her so much. And so there's a couple of really great channels for you to check out. Consider subscribing here too, because I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, that's what I'm all about. And you know, I really played around with trying to figure out what I wanted to call this channel, and you know, I've been called Bird my whole life. It's just been a nickname, and I'm a mom now, and so I'm bringing piece of my past and piece of my present to the channel. I hope it's okay that I share all of those channels that I watch. I really hope you guys go check them out because, I mean, why not? They're fantastic humans. They're doing great things. They inspire me all the time to do more and, you know, be a better human, and like that is just so important. So I did just drop my last batch in the water. So this is kind of what I've been doing. I've got a bowl with my strainer over here, and I've just been like scooping the peaches right into here, not worrying about the water that I'm catching. Oop, almost missed. Okay, we'll turn this off. And then taking the whole thing over to the water, then I just dump it right in. And then I'm not spilling everything all over my floor. So I'm just quickly showing you the peaches that were kind of dodgy. I'm not really sure what exactly is going on with them. And there seems to be some bugs happening on the inside. Sorry, I don't know if you can see it. So I think what I'm gonna do with these ones is just really quickly pit them, and then I'm going to set them aside in a separate bowl, and what we'll do is just freeze these ones. We're not going to actually preserve them, just in case. Now we're going to get started on the simple syrup. So this, I believe I used a light syrup recipe. It is from that same recipe book that I've shared before, the Ball Complete Book of Home Preservation. I can link it below if you're interested. This is the same syrup recipe that I used for the cherries. So we just put sugar and water into a large pot, and we're just going to bring it up to a boil. And here I am just cutting up some peaches for the freezer. They're on the cookie sheet. And now we're moving into the peach slices. So I cut these first few relatively thin, and I found as I was going through all of these peaches and cutting slices, what I did was I just kept slicing. So if there was a peach that had a little bit of a bruise on it, I just put it in that other bowl, just hiding behind my coffee pot there. And I only put the peaches that were beautiful into the measuring cup. I ended up measuring 8 cups. So it was actually a little bit more than what I was able to fit into the jars, and obviously so, because this measuring cup is overflowing with peaches. So I wasn't doing a very good job actually measuring, but what I ended up doing was cutting exactly the amount that I needed for the fruit cup. Here's the sort of quartered or, chopped peaches that I am going to do for the fruit cup. And then every single other peach out of this bowl, I ended up doing in slices. So what I couldn't fit into my canner load is what I ended up freezing. So that was super helpful. I thought about it after the fact, but it ended up working out totally fine because I did have extra sliced peaches anyways, and we ended up just freezing those and it worked out perfectly. I have canned a actual fruit cup where I used pears and peaches in the same recipe, and it was absolutely divine. Those peaches I actually got from a friend, and they were absolutely beautiful. This was a couple years ago, but I used the exact same recipe. The only difference is that I actually added pears, and it worked great. So I definitely recommend doing that. Here are the fruit cups. These are pint-sized jars, so I'm just adding the syrup. I'm adding a little bit of syrup. I'm not filling the jar completely yet, because these absolutely will need to be debubbled. Debubbling is something I loathe when it comes to canning. It is not my favorite step. I find it so inconvenient, but it is absolutely crucial. So make sure that you debubble your jars and get all of the air bubbles out. It's not a fun thing for me, and I'm not sure exactly why, but I just hate doing it. So I found that by filling the jars halfway with the liquid definitely helps me out with spillage or overfilling or adjusting jars. I can always go back and add more, but I find it difficult to take some out. So it's just one of those tips that I have, is filling your jar with halfway with syrup to start, debubble, and then get back in there with more syrup if you need it. Now we're just getting in there with some vinegar and paper towel, wiping the rims clean, especially with an item like this where there is high sugar content. You definitely want to clean up those rims, get your new lids on and rings, and then we'll put them in the canner. I think moving forward, when I do sliced peaches, I'm going to use a small mouth jar. And the reason behind that is because I was really having a difficult time keeping the sliced peaches in the jar with the wide mouth. So I think moving forward, I'm going to switch that to the small mouth jars. And that's something that just comes with experience. It comes with doing and what works for you and what works for your family. So I've made the decision that that's what I'm going to do moving forward, and that's okay. This is actually the first time I've canned sliced peaches, and they are absolutely divine. I think that I'd like to do some more fruit next year, and that will be my focus for my canning adventures. I am not sure yet which types of fruit I want to do, but I just know that I want to do more. So I love having fruit in jars, and I love that you can use fruit in jars in multiple different applications. I am not a huge fan of frozen concentrated juice, and with all of the sugar and all the things that come with it. So using the juice that is inside of these jars of fruit is definitely something that I'm going to incorporate into our more regular life. And in lieu of that, I need to do some more fruit. So if you have any suggestions about your favorite fruit in a jar, let me know. I've done peaches, I've done cherries now. I also have plans to do some mandarin oranges, but I'm going to wait a little while because I think that they come back into season in the fall. So stay tuned for that video. It'll come. Okay, friends, I think that's it for this one. We've got 20 more minutes on this round. We ended up with 7 pints of the sliced peaches in light syrup, 6 pints of the diced style, so like a fruit cup style of peach, 2 gallon Ziploc bags, and a few extra peaches for the fridge for us to enjoy fresh. So super pumped about it. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for sticking around. Consider subscribing, and we will catch you in the next one.